Welcome to How to General Vezax 10-Man. My name is Undying Chaos, GM of Broken Tribes, and I will be narrating this video to help you on General. General Vezax is a pretty straightforward fight that will test the ability of your healers and is mainly about perfecting your role in the raid. For positioning, you will be required to have 3 raid members at range and is recommended to make a half moon around the boss fairly well spread out. Also, having your healers where melee is can be very helpful as they can reach the whole raid and don't have to worry about certain mechanics of the fight. When you engage General Vezax, Aura of Despair will be applied to the entire raid, reducing melee attack speed by 20% and causing no mana regeneration except Aspect of the Viper, Judgments of the Wise, Shamanistic Rage, and Spiritual Attunement. Managing your mana efficiently as a healer will be the biggest difficulty of this fight. Periodically through the fight, General will cast an ability on himself called Surge of Darkness. This will increase the damage he does by 100% and reducing his movement speed by 55% for 10 seconds, also doubling him in size. You have 2 choices in this situation, that being either kite him or use a cooldown that reduces the damage you take. It is suggested to use cooldowns rather than move him, for this will put less stress on the raid and getting hit by an ability while moving. Without a Death Knight, you must work with pain suppression and your own damage decreasing cooldown so that you have one every time Surge of Darkness happens. Even with this setup, you will end up moving him at least once, as you will see later in this video. General will toss giant purple spirals called Shadow Crash at range. Shadow Crash will hit you for a decent amount of damage, however they can be easily avoided. It is important to remember that you will need to actually run. You can't backpedal out and expect to miss the Shadow Crash. As range, you should look towards the top of General and have your camera pulled back as far as possible. You can see Shadow Crash's arc from the top, giving you plenty of time to move. When Shadow Crash hits the ground, it leaves a purple puddle. This puddle will increase spell damage and reduce mana cost and spellcast time. However, it will also reduce healing done, so they should only be used for caster DPS. On top of this, caster DPS should only do damage while in the pool. This will make sure that they have plenty of mana and are maximizing their DPS. Throughout the fight, Vezax will cast Searing Flames. Searing Flames is a 2-second cast that, if allowed to go off, will cause a large amount of fire damage to the entire raid and reduce their armor by 75%. While this ability will not kill the raid, it will however hinder them greatly, for healers then have to waste mana on everyone in the raid rather than just the tank, who is also now taking more damage, so this ability must be interrupted. It is suggested to have 2 dedicated interrupters and 1 backup. Mark of the Faceless is another ability that will randomly target range. This will cause no damage to the person affected, however if the player gets within 10 yards of the affected person, it will hurt them for 5,000 damage every second and cause General to be healed 100,000 per tick. This can really hurt a raid, for it will stress healer mana pools even further, so it is important to avoid others when affected by this debuff. The final mechanic is Serenite Vapors. Serenite Vapors are small green clouds that float around the area and slowly come out further in the encounter. In the end, a maximum of 8 Serenite Vapors will spawn. When killed, they will leave green puddles on the ground. When standing in this puddle, it will harm the player in it, however they will also regenerate mana. Having a hunter kill the clouds will most likely be your best option. Healers are recommended to stay in for 4 stacks, for by the time you are out, you are most likely to get a 5th. After that, you can most likely get a few extra stacks when the debuff wears off, so feel free to run back in. Dropping Serenite Vapors is something that you and your group needs to determine dependent on your DPS and how mana efficient your healers are. It is suggested that after the first Surge of Darkness that a cloud should be dropped, and from that point on figure out an interval of how many clouds that the raid needs. Keep in mind that you should avoid having 2 clouds down at the same time and make sure they are near the raid so healers don't need to run too far. All these mechanics are rinse and repeat, so it's just about knowing your role and what to avoid, and you will eventually kill General Vezax. In the end, once everyone in your raid understands their role, you will kill General with quite ease. And of course, above all, enjoy the loot.